Gentlemen of the press, you will first remember that in the last couple of years, this same building has had fire incident on 1 or 2 occasions before. And it's the same issues that were noticed over the years. This particular building has been converted into a storage warehousing facility. It's not being used as a proper office accommodation. Virtually every floor there has been turned into warehousing of one form or the other. And the initial report that shows that the fire started on the 4th and the 5th floor, which is somewhat over the ground floor. And if you notice, the first responders were on ground. They came with aerial ladder fire equipment that could attack, the fire at that level. But over time, especially from around 8 p.m. last night, the fire became very aggressive and it moved to other higher floors. Initial suspicion would mean that there are a lot of inflammable, combustive materials that were all in the storage facilities, which made, ability to be able to respond and kill and quench the fire a lot more difficult. But you can see that since yesterday, all of the first responders are on ground. The Lagos State Fire Service, the LASEMA, Lagos State Emergency Response Team, Neighborhood Watch. We've got support from Federal Fire Service, from Nigerian Port Authority, and other corporate organizations that have, capacity to be able to respond to fire issues. So far, I'm told that there are no casualties, thankfully, but we've taken about 7 to 10 people to hospital with the LASEMA ambulances that we have here. You've seen that the main building, there's been 2 partial collapse that you can notice. And so what you will see is eventually we'll have to take down this building, the entire building. I've set up a committee that will be headed by the Honorable Commissioner for Special Duties, who will bring forward, what will be the best mode for us to bring down the entire building within the shortest possible time. So that will happen in a couple of days from now, based on whatever capacity, what model of demolition we're going to be advised with. Unfortunately, this fire too that started had affected about 3-4 other buildings around, especially at the other end. We can't see it from here, but because they're all clustered together, right? 2 have been heavily impacted and about 3 others are partially impacted. So we're monitoring and we're watching. What you're seeing now is that the main fire has actually gone down. It's really what in fire terms, what's it called? It's gone to the BRS minimum. So we now have pockets of fire that they need to deal with. But whilst they're dealing with that pocket of fire, the smoke also extends to other neighboring buildings, which is where we're trying to ensure that we can evacuate people completely all around this place and keep the surrounding buildings safe, to keep as much as we can the surrounding buildings safe. You all see that all the buildings are pretty much joined together. So it's a tough. So, gentlemen of press, if you remember, from the month of November, typically in the last 4 or 5 years, we've continuously come to lecture people, to come with a lot of advocacy, because once the dry season comes on, what you see is that fire becomes a lot more inflammable, and it's easier for it to based on the harsh dry weather that you see. So we were going to start all over again. You remember that there's a building here that caught fire about 3 years ago, was actually about the same time, December into January. We've come to end of December now. The month of January, February are still very much high risk months where fire based on weather, not just on carelessness of our people, but also based on whether there has to be a higher level of awareness, a higher level of protection. People are not meant to keep in their stores, in their warehouses, materials that are highly inflammable or that are combustible, that can lead to just any little spark can bring about, and the weather will just aid it because of the harmattan that usually coming from November, December, January, February. So these are some of the things that we're going to be needing to tell everybody, all around our markets, in the various parts of the city, to come again and remember that we usually warn that from December, people need to be a bit more cautious, people need to be a bit more alive, and people need to be a bit more responsive and responsible to ensure that we do not, unduly expose, our neighbors or ourselves to things that can bring about fire issues. The real causes of this one officially, we cannot say is this, but from preliminary reports, it's still all around carelessness and people not adhering to strict safety and fire precautions. It's purely what we saw from the initial report, because when it started, they had picked, some initial reports, on that. But like I said, the assignment going forward is that it's still a live site. People should stay away from it. All the first responders are still fully on ground, and you can see that we've got over 6-7 fire engine trucks here. We have a whole lot of ambulance services. We have excavators. We have everything that the first responders require. They're all on the ground, but they also need to work in a safe environment. So when it becomes unsafe for them, they also pull back, reassess the situation before they go forward. Again, it's unfortunate, and I want to use this medium again to sympathize with our people that must have lost one thing or the other. Government, as we have done before, will see how we can help mitigate some of these losses. I'm hoping that people will learn, and this is the point. People will learn, from this. Yes, people are making end-of-year sales, but we need to do it responsibly. We need to do it responsibly and in a way and manner that will not cause injury to one another. And that, I believe, should be the real message that we need to take away from here. We're in the season of harmattan. Fire in December, January, February is very critical. The weather will help. The weather will help push it, faster. So people need to be careful, and we will push out a lot more advocacy. We'll push out a lot more communication to our citizens, during this period. And gentlemen of the press, you also have the duty to help us, spread out this news so that people can indeed hold each other accountable and responsible for this. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press. You see, so there will always be speculations, right? There will always be speculations. If we have responded to emergencies in 10-15 minutes. This was a huge market. Even to access all of the side roads took them over an hour. You know too well, the turning there. We've been here before. We've talked about these things before, right? On Lagos Island alone, we have 3 fire stations. And you could see that all of the major things that came from the mainland, and they were here. If you have the first videos at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you'll see that there was a high crane fire engine that got up onto the level of where the fire is, and they were dealing with it. Do you understand? So it's a function of how quickly they also mentioned it. They were here. All the first responders, within the first 15-20 minutes, they were on ground. Of course, water will also finish at some point. That's why they keep asking for backup. And you can see that we have over 7-8 tankers there. And they worked all throughout the night. All throughout the night. And they're still working. Thank you.
Let's do rough, please. Choose.
Hello? Hello? Okay, I've heard you. Oh, we are backing the light. We are backing the light.
So what? Just don't move.
When they're having private discussion,
You ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Hello, sir. Yes. All right. So we just had the State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu having to visit this particular place of incident on Martin Street, the great Nigerian building, which of course had that fire outbreak since yesterday. So he did promise that rescue in terms of putting out the fire will continue until all of that is out. He would not leave this, of course, his officials, of course, who are still on ground. The Margaret Adeshoya, the Director of Fire and Rescue Service, is still here. The Lasame Permanent Secretary of Central is also still here. So they've all promised to remain here until the entire fire is put out. And that to see the governor is on his way out of the premises. If there is any reason for him to return, he has also promised to be back here. And one of the issues again raised is the fact that rescue operations like fire trucks get in here late, and he also accused the persons or the crowds also mitigate against these interventions, saying that we also have a role to play to ensure that they do not deter rescue operations to come in, to safe situations like this. But then again, it's also promised that as soon as water keep, because the point is the fire is so much that every time the engine trucks come in here, water get exhausted. So he's also promised that it will keep getting, backups until the fire is out. So we have about seven fire trucks here already. When we came in earlier, just about 3 of them. So 4 more easier to ensure that this fire is completely put out. And that's the promise the governor has made. And that is what we intend to see by the end of today.